Welcome to IP Solutions Tech Talk, where we discuss different technical topics. This is the second part of two about software-defined networking with Anders Krus from VMware. IP Solutions is provider independent, but we always keep our eyes out for what the different providers are doing, like VMware. So, now we're going to discuss more about the technical aspects. What's exactly the things we're going to discuss here?
We are going to talk about micro-segmentation and zero-trust networking, which is a huge part when it comes to the SDN kind of approach from VMware.
Okay. Just in words, describe it a little bit.
Micro-segmentation means that for the first time we can be network independent when it comes to security. We can attach firewall security policies right to the VM instead of to network segments.
Okay. Okay. So, and that means that the actual physical network doesn't really apply anymore. You don't have any.
Not when it comes to the VM communication internally and in and out from the virtual world. No, then we can solve that with firewalling within the hypervisor environment.
Okay. So let's jump into what you have to show us.
So previously we were talking about the SDN approach from VMware, and it's about an overlay, SDN by overlay, and the overlay can provide the networking functionality for the VMs when communicating. But note that this is not necessary, actually, to be honest. We can encapsulate the traffic when traversing the physical network, but actually the NSX product, you can utilize only the security part if this is what you want, to create only micro-segmentation and not the overlay kind of functionality. You can have that as a secondary step.
Okay.
So the product aims to provide right away into the hypervisor environment, routing, switching, load balancing, and firewalling. But in this case, we will talk about the micro-segmentation functionality and what also is referred to as zero-trust networking. And this picture, I think, says it all. To the left, we have a legacy data center, so a data center that is not NSX enabled. This means that security is a firewall placed somewhere. It's either physical or virtual. It actually doesn't matter, because the approach is that if you need firewalling when VMs are talking, either internally or in and out, that firewall needs to see the traffic. You need to route the traffic through the firewall.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So you kind of tie the firewall functionality to a specific physical point in the network, right?
This is what you do traditionally, yes. And that's a bad approach. It's not as flexible, at least, because it means that the firewall is a choke point for the traffic, and the firewall is not optimizing the traffic. And especially if you have a segment such as the DMZ, you have no security or very limited security within your DMZ, which means that if you have a VM that is attacked from the outside, let's say internet, that attack can jump further on because there's no security within a certain segment.
Okay. Okay.
If we then apply NSX, regardless if we utilize the overlay network or not, we will get the security component. And the security component means that the firewall is built into the hypervisor, and as we said before, this is the first time, the first product from anyone where a firewall is attached to the individual VM. So IP is not the primary tool for creating security groups. Who is allowed to talk to whom? We still can do any type of grouping. So we can refer to this as intelligent grouping, because the thing is that all the VMs are created by the vCenter, the vSphere kind of organizer. And the vCenter knows everything about each and individual VM. We know the operating system, we know the name of the VM, we know the host name of the VM, we know everything about this VM. And we can say, this is a group, regardless of the IP, if they are in the same broadcast domain, if there are different broadcast domains, and regardless of where they are, we can say that this group is allowed to talk to this group over this certain port and in this certain way. And internally, it is not allowed to talk, or it is allowed to talk, but only over these ports.
Okay, so that traditionally you had like a subnet where you had all the kind of security like setting for that subnet, and all the rules were based on IP, destination port, protocol, and so forth. Now instead you can just take any of those kind of more metadata around the VM to decide.
When pointing out who is allowed to talk to whom, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So what we include right away into the NSX is a stateful layer 3, layer 4 firewall that is session based. So it's not only port filtering, kind of an access list approach, it's a true stateful firewall. However, it is not a next generation UTM firewall that does content inspection. But we will provide the same functionality through an API to which other security vendors can certify their product. And we see a number of them to the right in the picture. Fortinet, Checkpoint, SDN Micro, Intel, Palo, Symantec, HighTrust, Rapid7, and possibly in the future even more vendors. But this means that they can squeeze in their firewall into what is referred to as the service chain. The service chain means that the VM is talking down to the vSwitch. You can have this as an example, but instead of talking right away down to the vSwitch, the VM talks through, in this example, a Palo Alto firewall. So in this way, Palo Alto can apply higher layer filtering such as intrusion prevention, such as antivirus scanning, such as data leak prevention, such as application filtering, nested application filtering, or whatever that firewall vendor is offering as a service as a firewall.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're providing like an app store for different providers to hook into, or you can kind of buy. I'm not saying that you go into a web page and buy it, but it's more like that. It's kind of a framework for different providers to hook into.
Yes, exactly. They have to be certified, and probably the vendor of your choice right now is certified because these are the biggest vendors. So the industry kind of relies on the NSX as a product, and want to be on this kind of train. And also, the final thing, just to state that if you have a firewall here, which is virtualized, you can get the intelligent grouping into the management of the firewall, and of course you can utilize those groups also in the physical perimeter firewall. The grouping were intelligent from vSphere, so they are not grouped by IP, but still, of course, the VMs has IP addresses, and you can utilize those security groups also in the physical perimeter firewall.
Okay, so you synchronize that with the physical firewall that only speaks about IP addresses.
So micro-segmentation together with automation, this is the driver for this.
Okay. Thank you, Anders, for that presentation. I think it was educative. We're going to continue to speak about those subjects also in other clips. And thank you for coming here, and thank you for watching. See you.